Thanksgiving, my mom snapped. You're just a burden. Always have been. My brother laughed and added, at least I make this family proud. I put down my fork, stood up, and left without a word. Weeks later, my dad called and asked, why is the mortgage unpaid? I calmly replied, ask your pride and joy. I'm Aaron, 31, and I've always been the quiet, helpful one. While my brother Luke was the golden boy, star quarterback, college scholarship, business degree, I was just background noise. When dad had health issues 5 years ago, I stepped up covering their mortgage, utilities, and medical costs. Luke never offered a dime. He'd show up at holidays in designer suits, talking about Dubai conferences, while mom fawned over him like corporate royalty. Meanwhile, I'd be in the kitchen prepping food, cleaning up, covering their bills, completely invisible. For 5 years, I quietly sacrificed, worked overtime, skipped vacations, delayed my own goals to keep their house afloat. Not once did anyone say thank you or acknowledge what I was doing. Then came that Thanksgiving. Dinner started normally. Mom bragging about Luke's latest business ventures while I set the table. Ignored as usual. When she made a comment about how easy I had it living alone, I made a small joke. Yeah, the mortgage fairy sure helps with that. That's when she gave me a cold, sharp look and said, you know, Aaron, you've always acted like you're doing us some huge favor. You're not. You're just a burden. Always have been. The table went silent. Before I could process what she'd said, Luke chuckled and added casually, at least I make this family proud. Something in me went completely still. I put down my fork, pushed back my chair, and walked out without a word. No yelling, no dramatic exit, just quiet realization that I meant nothing to them. I stopped all payments immediately, cold turkey, deleted the autopay, removed bill reminders from my calendar, and went about my life. Weeks passed before dad called, voice stiff with annoyance. Aaron, why is the mortgage unpaid? Ask your pride and joy, I replied, then hung up. The silence that followed was deafening. No apologies, no attempts to understand, just demands. Mom texted, we need you to sort out the mortgage before it affects our credit. Don't be childish. Childish. After 5 years of quiet sacrifice, I was being childish for finally stopping. But the real betrayal came months later. I got a call from a mortgage lender about a loan application I'd never submitted. Luke had forged my signature, used my house as collateral for his business venture, all without my knowledge. He'd literally tried to steal my house to fund his failing schemes. I filed fraud charges immediately, froze my credit, and built a paper trail. When Luke called to explain, he said, you live alone with no real responsibilities. I'm trying to build something that actually matters. He genuinely believed he was entitled to my life, my money, my home. Meanwhile, I was thriving. I'd taken a promotion in Portland, started a successful side business, and for the first time felt truly valued. But I kept tabs on the family situation through my cousin. Luke's startup had failed spectacularly. He'd moved back in with my parents, broke and desperate. They were facing foreclosure on the house I'd kept afloat for years. The same house mom always said would be Luke's inheritance someday. That's when I saw the perfect opportunity. I quietly monitored the foreclosure process through a real estate contact. When the auction date arrived, I had my lawyer set up an LLC and bid on the property for $262,000. I bought the house I'd already paid $90,000 toward over 5 years. They had no idea who the new owner was until they received the eviction notice signed by me as managing partner of the LLC. The letter was perfectly professional. This property is now under new ownership. All prior occupants must vacate immediately. I didn't gloat or confront them. I just watched from across town as they scrambled to find new housing, finally understanding what real consequences felt like. Luke's fraud case moved forward quietly. He took a plea deal. Fines, probation, and a permanent criminal record that would follow him forever. The golden boy had finally fallen. My parents moved in with relatives out of state, sharing cramped quarters with extended family. They tried reaching out once with a handwritten letter begging for reconciliation, but I shredded it without reading. Forgiveness isn't owed, it's earned, and they never even tried. 6 months later, I renovated the house completely. I turned it into a transitional home for young adults aging out of foster care, funded through my growing business.